February 8th, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on a NinjaTrader 8 platform. Here's what the chart looked like today. I didn't take any trades because there weren't very many I could find. The only economic data that came out was around, 8:30, which was about right here, which is the unemployment claims. I think it's supposed to be 5:30, but I'm looking at the Forex factory and said it's 8:30. And then there was this really large spike at 10 o'clock that I noticed. And I couldn't find out why this happened, except for maybe it was because the wholesale inventories came out at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard, as well as mortgage delinquencies. But that doesn't seem like it should have been a market mover, but apparently for today it was. Most of the price action happened from the lows of about, I would say, 5,005 to about 5,015. So it's only a 10-point range. Total range was 5020 to 5003. So it's about 17 points for the true full spectrum range. But most of the time, prices just stayed within a 10-point range. It was very, very choppy, and the volume was extremely low. So it took a long time for each of these candles to close. On top of that, I didn't find too many setups or even that very many high probability setups. Of the trades I saw here, I only marked like two of them, I think, to being like possible trades, but even then, they felt a little sketchy. I think I marked this one as a possible trade, and then I see this one as a possible trade, as well as I think this one. And most of the setups kind of happen early on. And believe it or not, right up to here, there's only about 2 hours of trading. So from here to here, and then this to this is the rest of the 4.5 hours. So although it looks like there's a bunch of setups here, there are a bunch of second entries, but they're all very not uh, good or not very high probability trades. I'm going to go into the setups now. Also, I was playing with a bunch of trading ranges and support and resistances, and it kind of had some consistencies at the tops at certain times of the day, then it kind of fell out. So it was kind of challenging to find setups today. So this is the pre-market, and in the pre-market, right before the open, I was looking at the volume, and it was extremely low compared to other days. So I already knew today was going to be a rather, slow day. I don't know why, it just was. So here you just see a bunch of like piano keys. It's just side by side, especially right here. This is very hard to trade, hard to find a setup, hard to trust a setup, especially when you see candles pushing all the way up to the extreme, then immediately in the next one pushing all the way back down, then pushing all the way back up. So they're running the full range of these bars and they're running it in opposite directions. So it makes it very, very, I guess, very, very hard to trust a second entry because it could immediately reverse on you, could fake you out. So on the market open, I don't have this blue line here yet, or this blue line. They come in a little bit later, but I have a new high. It's first entry long. Second entry long technically is created right here, and it's confirmed by these two candles, but it wasn't a really confident looking setup, so I left it alone. Kind of pushes back down. First entry long, pull back. You technically have a second entry long here, but again, it's not a very good signal bar. It does have a break of this green channel, made one attempt up, push back, second attempt up. So here, you're thinking it might want to come back down to test the lows, but this isn't a good signal bar to even consider that because you'd be thinking it's a new low, first entry short. This could be setting up for second entry short. And as you can see, it does create the second entry short, but this is just junky because you have doji candles. It's just kind of noisy trading right now. Also, it's a very tight range because this is only about 2 points of range and it's just oscillating within those 2 points. Continues chopping. It starts moving up on what I think is this yellow channel going up, and this is just very, very slow grinding moves, just moving literally a few ticks at a time. Because as you can see, this is 50-14, 50-15. So this is only 2 points of range, and look how long it took to just crawl through and break through that 2 points. Then it comes back down. So at this point, I'm thinking maybe there is, because I have my pre-market highs and pre-market lows right here and right here, and I was thinking there is maybe some kind of support, some kind of resistance being obeyed right here. So here it creates a new low, creates a first entry short. Here I saw a second entry short, but it kind of happened quickly that I didn't quite catch it or was ready for a trade. So I saw this as one tick up, then immediately reversed. So it kind of confirmed that this is some kind of resistance that's being obeyed. There's an overshoot here. That's okay. It pushed it all the way down. Not only did it push it down past this previous candle, which, as I mentioned, when you see things like this, it's a little bit, you have to be extra cautious because these are just running the full length of the candles and it's just moving sideways. So it looked like it's still kind of moving sideways, but it's a rejection off the top of this possible range. It moved one tick above, then it flashed and completely engulfed this previous candle. Now, if I was going to take a trade on the next candle after this, I definitely wouldn't put it one tick below here because there's not enough room before what I saw as a possible support, this blue line here, because you don't have enough room before it might bounce because it looked like it tried to push down once, push down twice, push down a third time. So each time this thing held. So it could be working within the smaller range. So I didn't want to, sell here, sell near the lows and try to get out even lower when it's potentially running into the range. So I think if I saw this, the only way to have entered would to be put it like maybe higher up and hope this next candle would pick me up and then move down. But as you can see, it just kind of leaves you in the dust. By this time, the trade has left. Then prices continue moving. It's breaking the green channel, makes one attempt up, pulls back, tests the low, it completes the downward move, and now it pushes back up. So here, it kind of confirms that this could be the trading range, this top blue line to this bottom, because it has 1, 2, 3, 4 supporting touches here. And so I saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long, pull back. This is technically a second entry long, but this is a terrible signal bar. So there's nothing here to have made me prepare for a trade other than maybe trusting the bounce off of the bottom of this range. So flashes up. Now definitely the trade has been made. You don't want to chase this. And then here I'm thinking it's a first entry long, second entry long. Technically the second entry long has failed right here, but this isn't a very good failure because it's closed near the highs. Then it creates a lower high. I thought this was a possible trade, but I think I was just not sure. But it made one tick up, flashed down, made one tick below, and it closed near the lows. So it shows that prices kind of failed to move to the other side of this range. After this break, it made one attempt up, two attempts up, failed, made a really sad third attempt, and then reversed. So you could be thinking maybe it's going to come back down, touch this again. So that's what I was thinking. There's possibly a trade there, and there is enough room to a scalp out for a quick point here. So it did work, but I didn't take this trade. It breaks out. There's a potential fail breakout. It's moving back in. It falls into this yellow channel back up. It kind of touches the other side. So I'm very curious now if it's going to break through. It doesn't. It kind of touches two times. This actually doesn't quite. Let me just see here. 1425, 14. Actually, this is a triple test. I think I have this thing in the way, so it kind of made things confusing. Yeah, so actually, so there is three touches, but there's no real setup. And this had to close much more bearish for me to just take a range type of trade. Plus, there's an overshoot here, so I'm wondering if it's going to be an overshoot here. This is the first break of this yellow channel, so you're thinking it might at least push back up again. So now there's four tests on top of that. Definitely not thinking of going short now, but I'm not prepared to go long either because this is a very strong bullish close. And it looks like if you did take it, you would get probably about 2 points. Actually, it's just one tick, and then likely would have been stopped out. So that was kind of a tricky move. Price then continue down. It breaks out of the green channel, continues to test the new low. I saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now, this is a possible trade I thought as well because even though this isn't a good signal bar, prices moved one tick down, then reversed itself all the way back up and closed near the high. So it looked like this small little overshoot's being matched here. It's creating higher lows every time. So it could be pushing itself right back into the trading range. The downtrend of the green channel already got tested. So it broke out, tested a new low. So downtrend might have played out. It's in this range. It looked like it might be coming all the way back up. And on this candle, you would have gotten a fill. But, it quickly reverses itself. And by seeing this and the type of day that we've been having so far, it just looked very, very choppy, very, very noisy. That kind of made me extra cautious, extra picky on my setups. And when I'm extra picky on my setups, if the day doesn't kind of unfold that way and it just stays choppy like it does today, I end up not taking a bunch of trades, but kind of wondering about them. The prices continue down. It makes a measured move, one leg down, two pushes up, and another measured leg down. There's no good trades here. Moves on this orange channel up. You have technically a new low. It's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. This is a good signal bar for a second entry short, but it kind of formed strange in that it had this big overshoot. It's now creating lower lows every time and lower highs every time. So when I see this, it's a little hard for me to trust or get an order ready because although it's moving back into what I think is this trading range, I can't be certain for sure because it did try to it made two measured moves down, then it made one leg up, pull back. It could be making a second leg, but it failed. So even though the second entry short, I didn't mark it. I didn't think it was a good anything. Then it flashes down, and then it creates a lower high. So actually, first entry short, second entry short, it confirms the lower high. It ticked up, then flashes down pretty well. So I thought, okay, it's confirming the second entry short. It failed to make this measured move. It's not going to try it anymore because after this first leg up, pullback, made one attempt, made a second attempt, and then failed miserably. So if you took this on an engulfing, you would probably get your quick scalp, but I waited and I saw this close. After this strong close, I was debating because I was thinking there might be a potential trend line here because it also kind of fit at the top here. I was a little nervous on whether there was enough room to scalp out. And I thought if I put my entry up here, it's too far into this red candle. So you'd be asking for the prices to come back, pick me up, and then continue downwards. So I didn't really quite like that. It turns out that's exactly what it did. So definitely wouldn't have taken it after the close because there's no room to scalp out. But if you did put it way up here, miraculously it would have come up, picked you up, and then closed back down here. So this is kind of like a mental fake out, kind of like showing you that, hey, it would have worked. But this, in my opinion, would have been really risky because it's already kind of at the halfway point. So you're asking prices to recover halfway through, then push back down, go below as well, push down, and then get you your scalp. So after I saw that, I thought, okay, today is definitely tricky. It made one touch, two touch, three touch, and I actually saw this as a new high, first entry long pullback creates this second entry long potential. Granted, the second entry hasn't been confirmed yet because it made a double top, but I like that it reversed all the way up. What I didn't like was this is the inside bar, and this would have been an aggressive trade. So if I was going to take this trade, I think I would have put it at the same highs as here, hoping the next candle opens, picks me up, and moves upwards. That's exactly what it did, and I wasn't on this trade though. So unfortunately, that kind of like these little setups previously where it kind of showed you like this could happen, but it might not, and I missed it. I think that would just come with more experience. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to capitalize on those. But then the rest of the day, the trade setups are just really noisy, kind of junky. So it's a new high here. It's a first entry long, second entry long. This is a terrible signal bar. Then the second bar is inside, and it's kind of, you could debate there is potentially a triple test right here because you could say there was one attempt down, two attempts down, three attempts down, but this just looks noisy. And this, although the economic data I didn't think would do this, it was present. But after this flashed up, then definitely I did not want to chase this because this is just a really, really big candle going all the way up. Prices then continued chopping. And I saw this as a trap because it created a new high, first entry long pullback. Here you're thinking second entry long. This is a really nice signal bar. It looks like it's a breakout of this. It tried to get to the other side. It could try to push up, and it looks like it would have filled you and then stopped you out. So I saw this as a trap, and it just kind of helped reinforce like today was just a slug. It was just a noisy, noisy slugfest. It was just like prices going up and down. There bulls and bears are really, really tug of war here. And the volume was low, so it took a while for each of these candles to close. Prices then continue moving up. It kind of goes up, touches the top of the pre-market highs. You do have a new low here. It's a first entry short, pull back second entry short. This is your signal bar for the second entry short. It confirms here, but here I just didn't feel like there was anything here now. And if you did try to take a short, it looks like you either didn't get filled, you would have gotten stopped out. Then here's another tricky thing. It creates a new high, first entry long, second entry long. So if you took this second entry long, looks like you would have gotten filled, but it looks like it immediately reverses all the way back down. So this is just like all these fake outs and all these tricks today. That kind of pushes down, it kind of moves up And this is getting toward the end of the day, and you can see how much price action there was today. There isn't that much considering what we've seen in the past. Just go back here. And the entire range was very tight. As I said, it's about 15 points, but the true range I think was like about, see, 20 to 3. So it's really only 17, but the entire trading actual real price action was between 5 and 15. So it's really only 10 points of range. So on top of that, you're thinking, well, 10 points of range, if you're only going for 1 point, you have plenty of room. That's not true because it's not moving the full 10 points every time. It's just oscillating here, moving about 2 to 3 points every time, grinding up, grinding back down, just battling it out. And it was just very, very slow, very, very kind of tough trading for me today. I did see this also as a new high. This first entry long pullback. This creates your second entry long right here, confirms, but this wasn't very convincing, and you don't really have that much room before you have to hit the highs of the day. So definitely skip that. And I also created a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. This is a second entry long, so it looks like it's moving back into range. So why would you consider taking a long when it's potentially moving back into this very, very solidly established range? So here, looks like you wouldn't have gotten filled, so you would have been safe, but it's just something to keep note of. And it kind of chops up, keeps chopping around, and this is moving. So you look at all these candles. There's only 10 minutes. This is the last 10 minutes of the day compared to what the rest of the day had. So that already tells you it's like a really slow day. So this is only 10 minutes right here. And then this is the rest of the 6 hours and 20 minutes. On top of that, the first 2 hours was from 6:30 to about 8:30, about right here. So this is 2 hours of trading, and then between this and this is the next 4 hours. And it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on, but mostly it was just noise. So it was a kind of partially frustrating day because it's been so slow this last few days, and today was no different. It was just like another sluggish day. Just kind of waiting for, price action to restore to something a little more obvious, a little easier to read. But unfortunately, today was not that day. So hopefully that was helpful.